Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to Strategic Management for Supervisors and Managers. You're taking me in a series, either in an online class or a face-to-face class, and this is just a supplemental to the subject matter that we discuss, whether it's within one of my forums or within a discussion group in the classroom. Okay, so what are we going to be talking about? We're going to talk about corporate entrepreneur, for lack of better words. We've talked prior in other courses you've taken with me about an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is an organization or part of a process or a functionality like a marketing which allows people to be creative and come up with ideas and reward them. Okay? Now, when you're looking from a strategic managerial perspective, what you have to think about is, how do I bring in a learning organization that we covered last week, or we'll be covering, learning organization, how do I bring top managers that are creative and have that entrepreneur spirit, since the environmental forces outside of my control or even within my own industry are so dynamic and changing? I need to have an entrepreneur spirit to come up with new process innovation. Are there any kind of disruptive innovation that's going to affect my process? This is what we'll be covering today. Sustaining innovation. When I come up with new ideas, could I at least sustain it to make some money off them for at least 3 to 5 years? I would like to have it longer, but life isn't like that. There's too much technology, there's too much advancement, there's too much going on that if I could get it for 2 or 3 years sustainability with some adjustments going forward, I'm strategically managing the situation. So we have to use all our resources, people, equipment. Do I make radical innovation, something that no one ever did before, because I'm the leader? Do I cultivate? How do I cultivate that innovative spirit? It has to be from the top, because realize that the managers at the top have direct reports, and they will hire direct reports that still have the similar vision, and the organization through organizational behavior, organizational culture, through HR, and through different processes and assessment. I want that whole culture from the top down, thinking being creative, being innovative, have that entrepreneur spirit, and get out of the status quo. We've always done it this way. Okay, defining the scope of innovation. How much innovation? We could be over innovative and we're not productive. We need a strategic, innovative plan going forward. Managing the pace of innovation. When you first start off, everyone is on the has all that adrenaline going. Let's go. But you have to kind of slow it down, so you're not working just off of emotions. You're using an emotion, a creative flow within your spirit, within your subconscious, whatever you want to call it, is coming up so much, but you have to contain it, so you're not just making crazy ideas. You're thinking through, does that make sense? Do I rationalize? So you're using creativity and rationality, and you have to find that mixture, that balance, with the cost and organization and my customers, how does everything fit? You're strategically looking at the whole picture and creatively trying to figure out which areas should I tweak, which areas should I bring in, and then now how do I create this vision, this corporate entrepreneur, that everyone, like a learning organization, is basically an entrepreneur, finding better ways, effective ways, finding different suppliers, finding other things, and reward them for that. If you reward them strategically, they will find more creative ways, because, like it or not, the reward or the positive reinforcement with monetary consequences are very effective. Okay, do I open up the new venture groups, and how do I do it? Dispersed approaches, different approaches to what do you call it, creativity or entrepreneurship, and related aspect of corporate entrepreneur. And measuring success. How do I know measured? Are my employees happy? Is my return on investments better? All of these are analysis that I'm looking for. And entrepreneur orientation. When I see this thing that I don't have it capitalized, doesn't mean it's not as important. When I create these concept maps after reading the material, that's how I remember, because I have to, a lot of times, sometimes I'll be looking at other resources. So I try to put it up in a way. So it has nothing to do with one is capitalized, one's not. They should be always in the main one when you're using my concept match. Remember, you're taking me within a college credit or some kind of workshop, or you're just reading on this and enjoy the, what do you call it, the YouTube. Look me up in some of the colleges I'm teaching at, so I pay off my student loans. Trying to take care of the government on that. But when I'm looking at the entrepreneur spirit here, so we're going to go through all this, and I'm going to try to keep this under 40 minutes. I'm already at 10:15, but I'd like to really introduce the subject matter, because a lot of students will go, I know this, and go really quickly. Okay, so if I'm looking at innovation, allows for what? Allows for transformation. Now let me bring this over here, and now I'm just going to make this just a little bit bigger for everyone to see. So this way we don't have to do it, and I can always bring it back. Okay, creation of new, transformational organizational processes and culture to creation of new commercially viable products and services. That's quite innovative. To be a leader of the pack, or to be even sustaining my organization forward, I have to use technology, I have to reduce the cost, I have to be innovative, creative. Not necessarily the same product, different uses for the product, different ways of making a product. Okay, requires new knowledge from, where am I going to get this knowledge from? Latest technology, results of experiments, competitive information, creative insight, and that can be from internal, from external, from my competitors. What are they doing? Okay, so if I'm looking at innovation, applies to technology to develop new products of end users, creates product designs, associates with different strategies common during early stages. Now I got there's a figure, I think 16 on here. So when I'm looking at this, on this figure, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at radical innovation, fiber optics, internet browser, online auction. All this started off with the internet. They worked out incremental in little pieces, or the frozen yogurt, enterprise resources, polyester. At different times, how do I bring this into the business product life cycle? Strategically, and at different times I'll have a different message, and different times I should have a different strategy. Maybe for the first year bringing in the product, second year, and my strategic strategy should follow the product life cycle: introduction, growth and maturity, decline, or sometimes you could keep it in maturity for a long time depending on your strategic plan. And maturity could be the same thing as you just find different markets for it. So you're looking at the product life cycle strategically for different product product life cycle. Okay, process innovation improves efficiency of an organization by utilizing materials utilization. Just-in-time management could be one. This way, shorten the cycle time to the customers. Take different orders of different things or different times, or have a different distribution system to deliver on that. You have the what do you call it, 3D printers is changing this whole distribution system of what I could do on site to certain patents or certain materials with a 3D printer. Common during the earlier stages, associated with overall cost of leadership strategy. Okay, now disruptive innovations are. When I look at disruptive innovations, what I'm looking at is external forces that's overturning the market with a new approach to meeting customer needs. And the customer says, hey, I really like this. If I look at, for lack of better words, if I look at video, everyone, I used to go out to get the videos, go at the Blockbusters are gone, or go to family videos that's still around there. Now everyone, or Netflix will deliver it to the house and everything else within 2 days. But now do I need the DVD? Everything else is a streamline. All the computers streamlined. Got everything else just streamlined it completely. I go through the internet. Put the internet connection. I have it right there. Why even mess with the DVD? As long as I could keep the streamline for 3 or 4 days or 2 days, similar to the price that I had the DVD, I eliminated a hard copy of a DVD and I could just download it. Now, some individuals still like the DVD because there's still a market for it. I could go out and be surprised. But overall, do I get the same quality? But things will change. But you see, some change, and now I have to adjust my process. So you see, most TVs got the streamlining, all the smartphones almost have streamlining capabilities, and that basically is a disruptive innovation. It's something new for somebody else, but it disrupts my status quo process. So strategically, I'm looking at that. Sustaining innovation now extends the sales in the market, enables new products and services to be sold at a higher margin. So if I'm looking at sustaining innovation, I could, from the research and development, charge a little bit more at the beginning because I'm at the introduction phase. As long as there's a need and I got a certain margin and I understand my customers, I could maximize on that. Okay, incremental innovation, and just some experience, existing practices. I would slowly change it. Some companies are always changing. You don't have to do the drastic new idea. Sometimes it just come in by default, or something comes up. You've been working on it. You finally got it all together. Those are what you're looking for. So those are my cash cow, for lack of better words, money coming in for the next 5-10 years until my competitors come up. I can sell patents. I can do a lot of stuff with that. Okay, but that's what I'm looking for. But in the meantime, I just keep on changing my products to accommodate what my competitors are doing or what technology is doing to interface everything else in there. When Apple changed the plug on their iPhone, that really upset a lot of people. They're going, what the heck? You know what I mean? I have to buy an adapter to do this. Because usually it would be a transition from one to the other. Maybe they had it with the mic, and the other ones, Samsung did all that. But let's keep everything else so once I got the devices, I don't have to rebuy them. But from a marketing perspective, strategically, that makes sense. I change the plug. Now everyone has to buy. So I'm helping the economy in the long run to buy new products. I'm forcing them because if I got the new iPad, I got to buy a new holster. I got to buy the new everything else on that. I can't use the old. Okay, so, okay. From a business perspective, it does make sense. Okay, radical innovation, a departure from normal, usually a result of technologies changing, can be disruptive, can transform or revolutionary for the whole industry. And that's something we just talked about before with some of the plugs to some of the new technology or the streaming that's coming in there. Innovative dilemmas, when I'm looking at that seeds versus weeds, is seeds are likely to bear fruit, weeds will be cast aside, projects may require considerable investments before merit can be determined. In the U.S., we're looking at within 5 years. If we can't make a profit in 5 years, we don't even think about it. So we have a lot of ideas, a lot of innovative things out there that basically we created. Now you have the Chinese, you have the Japanese, you have the South Koreans. They'll basically look at those ideas, buy them, and they'll take them for another 3-4 years because we already look at the escalation of commitment. We spend too much. We're not taking out. We're not looking at the long run. They'll take it and they'll break it in the take the ideas and they'll bring it in over the next 5-10 years. And that's because their model's a little different, but we're changing a little bit. Experience versus initiative. When I'm looking at experience, who should lead the innovative product? Sometimes you want experienced people to know how to bring the product to market, but the creativity, I may want maybe my mid-level employees, because tend to be more risk adverse. The older I get, them a little more cautious, which is good for an organization. That's why you're at that level. But you may want some new ideas that somebody else will come up, and so you give them the incubator or something that we're going to talk about earlier, so they could get started. There's a lot on this thing. Remember, this basically is a nutshell of all of strategic management. When I'm looking at entrepreneurship from the strategic, from the top management working down and then coming back up. That's the only way you're going to grow, man. This organization, you have to have just like a learning organization has to be an entrepreneur, innovative type of organization. Building, what do you call it? Capabilities versus collaborating. So, capabilities that come from internal departments. What could we do? How much could we change? If McDonald's changes something else, you have to look at all the franchisees because now they're bringing a new product. Oh man, I got to bring a new oven where I'm going to put in the kitchen. I got to get all the zoning changes. I only have so much spaces. So all those are very strategically. You have to look at it when I'm bringing something out. Will it be sustainable? Will it be something that consumers want for the next 5-10 years? So the investment now is well worth it because I have customer base or bringing them in. That's strategic thinking, a little bit different. Just throwing up collaborators may come from other companies, and dependencies may inhibit internal skills development or create conflicts. So they're just some things you're looking at, your capabilities and collaboration with different departments. Incremental versus preemptive. Incremental means I do a little at a time, or I do it all at the one time. Preemptive, one large launch it out. Sorry, I've been talking a little bit. but basically I roll it out at the same time and just it's done. Once it's gone, I have no going back. I'm out for sale, or do small changes and then have different times I bring it out to market. Okay, we're doing pretty good so far. Let me move along here. Cultivating innovative skills. Now, this is something you have to look at. Discovery skills allows leaders to see potentials in innovation. You have to have that creative thing. So you have to have leaders that have been a different, understand the organization as a whole from the strategic point. All the, don't have to know how to do all the part, but know collectively how the business operates model, so they can say, this makes sense. I have this part. I have this part. I bring this company in here, and now I could do this new innovative process or bring in this new service or product to market. Now, but I'm creating that from that top level. I got to have all managers looking at it so they're not afraid, because a lot of people are afraid they're going to laugh at me. People are going to laugh at you anyway. Get that creative, get the entrepreneur. I got an idea, and you're going to be the mission with it. Allows the individual to be more creative, a higher potential for innovations by means of associating patterns, information, insight. Is basically the whole culture stimulates creativity. The whole culture supports creativity. All the process of rewards creates creativity. So it doesn't go to that one side. You start having people that are dishonest and try to play the system. Okay, so we take care of that. Defining the scope of the envelope, focus on common technology, focus on the market team. So you basically have to have what we talked about in marketing. If you're taking me from marketing, remember I'm a double major in marketing and management. I'm looking at, I got to have the integrated marketing plan. What is the organization? What is the mission organization? And how could I grow, complement other parts of the organization? So I'm looking at what's the cost going to be when I come up with a new idea. Will it add value to my product line? And what is the learning curve for it to come out? Not only for the production, for the customers, all the stakeholders before they accept this product, if it's a new innovative product or a change to the product when they're doing. When you had Jewel basically reorganize, or some of the stores that do the whole new layout, they have the dysfunctional thing for a while with the customer base because they're upset. They don't know where the other stuff at. They got to find. It takes them longer to get in there. They're not comfortable. After the store is all done and they get used to where everything's at, then you go back to what you would call the learning curve, the normalcy of the operation. But remember, you have to look at it. Did it add value? Are the customers happy? Are they buying more? I spent all that time to dissatisfy them, and lost sales. Was my return after the lost sales amount greater now going forward? And that gives me some sustainability for the next hopefully 3 or 4 years. I don't want to go further in that because there's too much changing around there. We're in a global market, not only that with competition. We have a lot here. Okay, managing the pace, incremental innovations. Do you want a little bit radical? Do I do it all at once? Different time. Staffing, do I have the right individuals? Corporate entrepreneurship, new ventures, that's how I'm going to go off. Entrepreneuring, and how do I pursue it? Is consider high or low costs, innovative, to aim at the product. Corporate culture and leadership, I'm developing that. I'm hiring. I'm making sure I understand that I have that attributes. I don't want all clones of all creative people. And the other thing you have to remember, when you have an organization that is focused on learning organization and an organization that is a creative organization, you need a completely different type of managers, because you have people that have different way of looking. How do I bring all these creative ideas and bring them in and manage that? And that has to be brought in. So people who are brought in, they know that here's the process. How do I bring up new ideas? How do I sit on the committee? How do I have processes within the structure and looking at it and say, oh, this makes sense. This committee makes sense. How do I have a review process and bring more people? How do I reward the right individual? The person who comes at an idea, how does he or she interject and keep within that process to be that change agent going forward? Consider using teams, whether a company is a product or service oriented. Okay, So we took it out of that. Approaches on corporate entrepreneurship. Anonymous approach is basically when I'm looking at this is a venturing work group separate from the rest of the firm. And that's what we talked about. Another word would have been entrepreneur. It's a whole different division of a company. The whole company is very bureaucratic, and only this little aspect are my creative, my genius, my Picasso type of individuals, and the rest are like, yes sir, but all, hey, and they don't fit in. Here we're looking strategically, is the whole company is a creative, entrepreneur, innovative organization, and ideas are coming from all over. Ideas how to bring the distribution faster, ideas how to make a better product, ideas how to improve on the supply chain, ideas how to improve on the ingredients within my process, ideas how to shorten the service time, how to expand, how to sustain my process, how to go to different markets. All that is basically that you're going to be doing. Okay, so free entrepreneur teams, we talked about that, routines. Okay, does not isolate the organization. So when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the whole company like that. New venture groups, are semi-autonomous units, innovative experiments, coordinate with other corporate divisions. They're all entrepreneurs. Everyone's thinking different ways, so it makes sense. How could we reduce the cost? How could we do a better quality product? How could we get to the market faster? How could we beat our competitors? And business incubators are basically, if I look at that, hatch new spaces, everything else. So a lot of times you have an idea, you may have certain areas that you're going to test it, and you do it as a test model, and you run it as a regular operation before you expand it like yeast to all the other parts of the organization. Okay? Or you could have it a standalone. But usually we're talking about a whole company, okay? Dispersed approaches, entrepreneurship spread out through the firm. And that's what I'm trying to say. Everyone is thinking entrepreneur. Everyone's thinking into innovative. Everyone is in a learning organization. And then all our stakeholders, venture opportunities, anyone in organizations can bring ideas, because I reward everyone. I reward the customer with some kind of a reward. It could be part of the profitability. It could be a one-time deal. I reward my employees by either a promotion or giving them some kind of a royalties for this for so many years. Even though they've done it in here, everyone rewards. Everyone is rewarded, and that's how I come up with the innovative. But I got to come up with innovative ideas. No innovative ideas out there. 3 aspects of a corporate. You got to look at the culture. I got to look at the resource allotments, and I got to look at the product champion. I'm just going to talk about product champion. Somebody has to bring the entrepreneur teams forward. Usually the creative person should be the one, because he or she has that spirit, that heart, that drive. This is what's making it. Find the resources to support the venture, promote the concept, passes 2 things: project definition and project implementedness. That means I could get it done on time. That an example of Samsung. You could have that later on. Resources. Make sure I have the right resources. Everyone's on board. Production, sales, measuring success strategically. Is it strengthening my competitive position? Like it or not, this is bottomed on. I've done all this. I spent all this money. I changed the organization, got all the creative people. I got the best people. I got the best management. How do I measure it? I just know it. I spent all this money. How do I know I'm productive? I spent all this money in a car and it still only goes 20 miles an hour in a Volkswagen. Nothing wrong with a Volkswagen. I think it beats me taking off. What does that mean? I don't have a fast car. I got a lot of good parts, but something's not connecting right because the process isn't running together. Okay, my process is not right. Okay, expanding capabilities. Did it expand my capability? Did the resource experience build extending? Corporation. Are we becoming a learning organization? We learn from our mistakes and our advances or opportunities. Is corporate entrepreneurship worth it? Now, the exit champions, when I'm looking at, sometimes I got an idea. Everyone's going to have a champion. Sometimes you're going to look at it and say, hey, this idea is not profitable. We're not ready for it. It doesn't fit our model. Maybe let's sell it off. It doesn't complement our brand or whatever. Unless we're changing the brand, it doesn't fit right now. It's just like a square peg in a round hole or a round hole in a square peg. Okay, question the viability of a venture to product, reducing ambiguity by gathering hard data. Here's the data. Developing a strong case why we should not pursue the product or dissolve it or sell it. Risk loss of status while opposing a popular project. Sometimes you have to be the one to say it's not worth it. People are going to like it. Saving corporations, finance, and reputation. Okay, so those are measuring it. Real option is the different helps, uncertainty, return on your analysis, for lack of better words. Real option analysis helps firm decide whether to invest additional funds to accelerate the activity, to want to meet the date or make it faster because our competitor is running parallel, and do we have to bring our product online first? May not be the quality, but will be the first one. You got to watch that. If you don't have the quality and you come out first, sure, but my competitor now said, look, we took a little longer time, but we have a better quality. So you got to be careful strategically what makes sense. Remember, it's like anything else, like any kind of sports. You strategically are planning the times and the movements and the individuals and what product and when, and looking at my competition, all the environmental, internal forces, everything else, looking at SWOT analysis, everything you've learned in this course is coming to the end now. Strategically comes up to entrepreneurship and innovation if you want to be the benchmarked and new person going forward within your process or your expertise within your field. Okay? Abandon activity requires a series of goal-no decisions. And its limitation is agency theory, a managerial consent, and escalation commitment. I'm just going to go on this one. This is the biggest one. What happens? We spend so much money. You don't want it to go, let's do it better. That's what happened. You're going to spend so much money. It's not going to make it any better, but you just got to keep it alive. Got to get rid of it. You just spent too much money. You invested it. Try to shelf it, take it apart, dismantle it, see what you can salvage on it, and then just go forward and look at it as a learning, since you're learning an organization. Take it as a learning so you don't get into that situation. But But don't spend more money or more individuals, because then when it does finally flop, or it's just the same amount, when you look back there, was it worth it? And you say no, and then you start not becoming an innovative risk taker. Remember, you had to be a risk taker, but you had to be a risk taker strategically taking a risk. So if I'm looking at entrepreneur orientation, you make practices used to identify the right individuals. Launch. I'm having trouble with that word. New ventures, a unique frame of mind of all my employees. Hopefully going down to the hourly worker. A perspective towards entrepreneurship is rewarded and encouraged. Reflect the firm's ongoing process as part of my mission, my vision that permeates decision-making styles. We take the risk, but a calculated risk that's strategically looking at it, still meeting our objectives of being an innovative organization and a learning organization, practice as a firm. Okay, dimensions of organization. So you're going to look at this one. If I look at this time, I have to have some freedom in making some decisions. Innovative, novel solutions. I don't want the same old way, just packaged differently. I want a whole brand new way of looking at this. Proactiveness, looking ahead of time instead of being offensive, for lack of a better word, instead of on the defensive side. Competitive aggressiveness. I should be at least ahead of my competitor, hopefully way ahead, so he or she doesn't competition come up to me. But so Apple's always innovative. Samsung's behind her. They're catching up, and they'll come up with a new idea. Hopefully their smartwatches is working, or their wearable techniques, but there's something always on there. As long as they're ahead of the curve, people are looking at them as innovative, and they're going to look at their product, and now they're going to say we're just as good as Apple. We want to say Apple wants to say we're just as good as Samsung, or whatever, HTC, or whatever. And now risk-taking is willingness to act boldly without knowing the research, assisting the factors to minimize uncertainty, using techniques that have worked in other domains. And different problems are basically what you're looking at is foresight research too quickly to get to the market. So when I'm looking at all this that we've been doing here, and I'm looking at the risks, and I'm not trying to be sexist or anything else, but if I'm looking at from different strategic and from leadership type of a position, women are risk takers, but more of a calculated risk than men. We still need both. So you need to have that dimension. If you've taken too much of a high risk and innovative organization, but you want to still keep that mission and vision, bring a creative, risk-taking woman, which will tone it down just a little. I'm not stereotyping, please, lady. If you're looking at that, your women executives don't. You just have that in tendencies that you will look at the picture a little differently, and you'll take more of a calculated risk. I'm not saying all, majority, and that, or so find the women who have that calculated risk thing. It'll have a different perspective. Guys, you're looking at it one way. Ladies are not. Remember, even though we're both just as effective, we look at the problem in a different situation, and maybe we could just address it a little bit differently, because that's how innovation comes, different way of looking at it. So, in a nutshell, that's what we've covered, everything we had in this session that you had with me today. Let me just close everything off, bring this over here so I could have a nice saying goodbye. Bring that down. Okay, so today, this session we talked about strategic management. This is a series you're taking me online or in a face-to-face class, and you already have all the supplements. You have my full concept maps. Follow them along. It gives you some information. And we're talking about corporate entrepreneurship. A little different than entrepreneurship, which we have just a little department that comes out with my creative idea. I'm looking at corporate entrepreneurship, that the management, all the way from the top down to the hourly worker, to the supervisor, for lack of better words, even to the hourly worker, are innovative, are entrepreneur-like thinkers, thinking of new ways to make the process better and to help the organization as a whole. Again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki. This one's probably a little longer than 40 minutes, but it's well worth the lecture. Fast forward me, slow me down, and I'll see you. I think we have one more chapter, one more series in the strategic management that we'll be talking about is how do I look at strategically set up the organization to be a strategic mindset when I create my action plan. But that's our next series. I think it'll be series 13 or chapter 13. Have a nice day again. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. Bye.